mind, and looking for like the secrets of like performance and that, and what happens in that motivational space. But what do you feel sort of on the deepest level?
Yeah, it's interesting. The best bit of advice, and it's particularly relevant, I think, to ultra running, but I think it affects even if you're doing a mile run. But it's such a simple piece of advice, and that you think, well, that's obvious. But actually, it's one of the hardest things to do, and it's to stay in the moment. And it's interesting because I found one of my old diaries just last week at my parents' house when I was 14, and interestingly, I was reading the inner game of tennis at the time, and I said I can apply this to my running. And I was in a race, and I thought I'd gone off too quickly in this race. This is in my day when I was 14. And then I remembered the inner game of tennis, and I said, no, don't have that thought. Don't have that thought. Just stay with it. Stay with it. And so I remember when I first started ultra running, ultra runners would tell me that, yeah, don't think too far ahead. Just stay with the mile you're in. And it seems so simple. It's like, well, I can do that. I can do that. But it's so hard to do it. And I had an experience recently, so I was doing the 24-hour race on the track, and obviously that's a challenging race at the best of times. But I've had almost the hardest bit, well, there was one moment which I think illustrates the challenge, and I've been running around this track in the heat for 5 hours. So that's a long time to be running around the track. You're getting very tired, people are exhausted, you're kind of starting to struggle. And then this thought pops in your head, you've still got 19 hours to run. And if you give in to that thought, you can't do it. You just stop. You go, this is impossible. How can I do this for 19 hours? But if you just go, how am I right in this second, in this moment, right now, and just kind of feel that, and be with that and trust in the rest, you're right. You actually don't feel right. I could do this lap. I can do this lap. And so it's kind of maintaining that space where you're just in the feeling of the moment is so difficult. But I imagine, I think meditation is doing the same thing. So that's, I think, where the two things overlap. You're in the moment when you're meditating. Again, your thoughts come in and tell you, oh, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. And so I think that's where they overlap. And I think, I don't know if Joe's thought about this, but I imagine at an elite level, if you're in the Olympic final, you can't start wondering, I don't know. I don't know. I guess maybe your thoughts are in a different space. I don't know. But I'd always be interested to know: are you just in the moment in a race? Are you just going with the flow, or if you're kind of strategizing, or I don't know.
I mean, I agree with everything you're saying about being in the moment. That's like so important, isn't it? Especially when it's a long race and it's hard, and you're doing a marathon. As far as a marathon, obviously 24-hour races are much more of a challenge, but yeah, definitely being in that moment and breaking the race up into segments so you're focusing on each thing. I think there's kind of different phases to think about with doing an event in that, say it's the day of the race, and if you've got a race in the evening, you kind of need to think, right, it's only a certain amount of hours till my opportunity. I think sometimes it's so easy to think, if you're really, really nervous, it's going to be over in 5 hours or something. It's actually think, try and sort of reverse your psychology that this is your opportunity, and you're excited that, it's nearly there, and I've got this opportunity, and I'm just going to give it my best. And I think sometimes in the warm-up, I can get a bit sort of busy, stressing back, have I gone to the toilet enough times and things like that, even though I've got my routine. But I think I always take that moment on the start line to compose myself and feel that calm, because I think, right, I've done all the training, I've done everything I can do under whatever circumstance I'm facing, and I have that moment to really calm myself and think, all I've got to do now is race, and I'm going to seize that opportunity. And then I think I'm definitely kind of in a zone where I feel like I've got a job to do, whereas I'm going to execute this to the best of my ability. And I've normally got paces in my mind. Obviously, if it's a track race, I've got my lap times memorised. If it's a half marathon or marathon, I've got my mile times memorised. So I'm kind of thinking, right, I'm taking each time, and I'm concentrating on keeping relaxed so that I'm not wasting energy. You've got to really think about your running economy in those early stages. And I kind of, if the race is going how I want it to go, in that I'm aware of the pace, so I'm aware of tackling, I'm kind of in the zone of focusing on what should happen. And I think leading up to a race as well, it can help. I've not really done a lot as far as much sort of psychological training, but I think it can be useful to visualise yourself coming down the final bit. I mean, the London Marathon, visualising yourself coming down that mile at the end, and you've got that thought in your mind as you're doing the rest of the London Marathon. That type of thing can really help. But yeah, I think definitely staying in the moment is really important, and embracing pain so that you reverse your psychology when it feels hard. Yes, you know, I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying the fact that I'm feeling like I'm pushing myself and willing yourself, and each step is getting you nearer to that finish line.
I think related to that,